Hello, my dear children. Welcome to the mathematics class. Today we are going to discuss lines and angles. Lines and angles. In this chapter, we are going to discuss the concepts of exercise 6.2. Okay, my children. We are going to discuss the concepts of exercise 6.2. Are you ready to listen the class? Right. See, first point, parallel lines and transversal. In earlier class, you have learned parallel lines and transversal. Let us recall that previous knowledge. See the figure. This is a line M and this is line N. These two lines are intersected by another line L. Okay, my children, at two distinct points P and Q. Then this line is said to be transversal for the lines M and N. Now come to this point. A line L, a line which intersects or cuts two or more lines at distinct points is called transversal. Understood this point, my children? You have already learnt about transversal. In the adjacent figure, line L intersects lines M and N at points P and Q respectively. Observe this figure, my children. Here, line L is intersecting the lines M and N at two distinct points, namely P and Q. Understood this figure, my children? Understood this point? Right. Therefore, line L is a transversal for lines M and N. Understood this point, my children? Right. Observe that four angles are formed at each of the points P and Q. See here, L and M, they intersect at point P. If you observe here, the four angles are formed. Angle 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, at point Q also four angles are formed. Okay, my children. Let us name these angles as angle 1, angle 2, angle 3 and so on, angle 8 as shown in the figure. Okay, my children. Understood this point? Right. Now come to classification of angles. Now we classify these 8 angles into different categories. Okay, my children. Now see here, first one, exterior angles. In these 8 angles, which angles are said to be exterior angles? Angle 1, angle 1, angle 2, angle 7 and angle 8. These four angles are said to be exterior angles. Okay, my children, you have to identify in the exercise, in the sums, what are the exterior angles. Okay, my children, understood? Can you identify what are exterior angles? Angle 1, angle 2, angle 7 and angle 8. All these four angles are said to be exterior angles. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. Now come to the next category, interior angles. Which angles are said to be interior angles? Angle 3, angle 4, angle 5 and angle 6. All these four angles are said to be interior angles. Okay, my children. Can you identify the interior angles in this figure? Yes, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5 and angle 6. These four angles are said to be interior angles. This is another category. Okay, my children, understood? Is it clear? Right. Now come to pairs of angles. You have already learnt in earlier class. Pairs of angles. In this category, different pairs of angles are there. First one, corresponding angles. In this figure, what are corresponding angles? Angle 1 and angle 5. One exterior angle and one interior angle on same side of the transversal. Okay, my children. But they should not be adjacent angles. See here 1 and 4 also, one is exterior, one is interior, but there should not be adjacent angles. Corresponding angles means the angles are on same side, but one is exterior angle and another one is interior angles, but there should not be adjacent angles. Similarly, angle 4 and angle 8, angle 2 and angle 6, this pair of angles are said to be corresponding angles. Similarly, angle 3 and angle 7, this pair. Okay, my children, we can't take a single angle, pair of angles only. The pair of angles are said to be corresponding angles. Okay, my children, right. Now come to the next category, alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. Previously we have discussed these four angles, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5 and angle 6. These are said to be interior angles. Again we have classified alternate interior angles. Means the angle should be either side of the transversal. Either side of the transversal, and they should not be adjacent angles. Angle 4, angle 6. These two are said to be alternate interior angles because this angle is left side of this transversal and angle 6 is right side of the transversal, and moreover they are not adjacent angles. But if you take these two angles, angle 3 and angle 4, they are either side of the transversal but they are adjacent angles. That is why these two angles are not said to be alternate interior angles. Okay, my children, please understand this point, my children. Similarly, angle 3 and angle 5, this pair of angles are said to be alternate interior angles. Is it clear, my children? Right. Now come to alternate exterior angles. Here we classify the exterior angles like this in this category. Angle 1 and angle 7. Same conditions, but they should be exterior angles. The angles should be on either side of the transversal and they should not be adjacent angles. Is this point clear, my dear children? Right. Now come to the next category of pair of angles. Interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Here we are discussing the interior angles on the same side of the transversal. So if you observe this figure, what are the interior angles? 3, 4, 5, 6. These four are interior angles. But which kind of interior angles we are discussing here? On the same side of the transversal. So if you observe angle 4 and angle 5, these 4 and 5 are interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Similarly, angle 3 and angle 6, this pair of angles is said to be interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. These interior angles on the same side of the transversal are also referred to as consecutive interior angles or allied angles or co-interior angles. Different names are there. Okay, my children, you should remember these terminology also. Sometimes they will use these terms. Don't be confused. These terms also mean the same, interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Understood this point, my children? Is it clear? Right. Now come to this point, my dear children, parallel lines. Parallel lines. On this concept, parallel lines, total 7 points are there. You have to remember well. Okay, my dear children, you have to learn these 7 points well. Okay, my dear children. See here, let us assume that lines M and N are parallel lines. L is a transversal line. Then we have marked angles name. We have given names angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, my children. See the theorem number 6.3 in the textbook. If a transversal intersects two parallel lines, then each pair of corresponding angles is equal. Okay, my children, if a pair of parallel lines is given, M and N are parallel lines, L is a transversal, then each pair of corresponding angles is equal. Okay, my children, I will explain later this. This theorem is also referred to as the corresponding angles axiom. Okay, my children, let M is parallel to N. Then, what are corresponding angles here? Angle 1 and angle 5. This pair is one pair of corresponding angles. So, they are equal. Understood this point, my children? Here, angle 1 equal to angle 5. So, a pair of corresponding angles. Similarly, angle 4 is equal to angle 8. This pair of angles are said to be corresponding angles. So, they are equal. Understood this point, my children? Right. Similarly, angle 2 and angle 6. These two angles, this pair of angles are said to be corresponding angles. So, they are equal. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. Similarly, angle 3, angle 7. This pair of angles is said to be corresponding angles. So, angle 3 is equal to angle 7. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. Now, come to the next theorem 6.4. Theorem 6.4. If a transversal intersects two lines such that a pair of corresponding angles is equal, then the two lines are parallel to each other. This is nothing but converse of the corresponding angles axiom. In the previous theorem 6.3, what we have discussed, if two lines are parallel lines, then each pair of corresponding angles is equal. Here, if each pair of angles, corresponding angles is equal, then the two lines are said to be parallel lines. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. Now come to the next theorem, theorem 6.5. If a transversal intersects two parallel lines, then each pair of alternate interior angles is equal. Okay, my children? Right. Let us discuss here clearly. In the adjacent figure, observe this figure, my children. The lines M and N are parallel lines. We have taken like this, and L is a transversal. In this case, angle 4 is equal to angle 6. What are the alternate interior angles? Angle 4 and angle 6. This is one pair of alternate interior angles. So, these two angles are equal. Okay, my children, is it clear? Right. Similarly, angle 3 and angle 5. This pair of angles are so said to be alternate interior angles. So, these two angles are also equal. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. Now, come to the next theorem. Theorem number 6.6. If a transversal intersects two lines such that a pair of alternate interior angles is equal, then the two lines are parallel. Understood this point, my dear children? This is nothing but the converse of the theorem 6.5. In the theorem 6.5, we have discussed that if two lines are parallel lines, then alternate interior angles are equal. In the reverse order, converse means in the reverse order, if the alternate interior angles are equal, then the two lines are said to be parallel lines. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. Now come to the next theorem 6.7. Theorem number 6.7. If a transversal intersects two parallel lines, then each pair of interior angles on the same side of the transversal is supplementary. Okay, my children, understood? If two lines are parallel lines, then interior angles on the same side of the transversal is supplementary. Means the sum of the two angles, the sum of the interior angles on the same side of the transversal is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, my children, that is in the adjacent figure. If you observe this figure, M is parallel to N. These two lines are parallel lines and L is a transversal. Then angle 4 plus angle 5 is equal to 180 degrees. Observe these two angles, my dear children. These two angles are interior angles on the same side of the transversal. So they are supplementary. Means the sum of these two angles equal to 180 degrees. Is it clear, my dear children? Because angle 4 and angle 5 are interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Understood, my dear children? Right. Similarly, angle 3 plus angle 6. These two are also interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Therefore, the sum of these two angles means angle 3 plus angle 6 is equal to 180 degrees, because angle 3 and angle 6 are interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. Now come to the next theorem, that is 6.8. Theorem number 6.8. If a transversal intersects two lines such that a pair of interior angles on the same side of the transversal is supplementary, then the two lines are parallel. Okay, my dear children, this is nothing but converse of the theorem 6.7. In the theorem 6.7, we discussed that if two lines are parallel lines, then the interior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary. In the reverse order, if the interior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary, then the two lines are said to be parallel lines. Is it clear, my dear children? Right. Now come to the last point in the concepts of the exercise 6.2, my dear children. Listen carefully. Theorem number 6.9. Lines which are parallel to the same line are parallel to each other. To understand this point, let us take a diagram, a figure. See here, let us consider line M is parallel to P. Line N is parallel to P. In the adjacent figure, let M is parallel to P and N is parallel to P. Then we can say that the lines M and N are parallel. Understood this point, my dear children? Is it clear? This property can be extended to more than two lines also. Understood, my dear children? Right.